Hey guys, Captain JGB84 here with a fairly late night review of Transformers 3 Dark of the Moon. Wow, this movie went a little beyond my expectations. Now, my quick thoughts on the other two. The first one, I like it, but it was just, I don't know. It kind of made Michael Bay who he is now, but it's flawed. The second one is even more flawed because it tries to be funny and tie in a good human story, and just shoves in badly written backstory. This I think is the best out of three, but nowhere near as good as the original 1986 one. What I realized with this one is that it uses elements and references to certain Transformer episodes and series. Like, there's one bit. Now, Optimus brings back Sentinel Prime with the Matrix. He makes a spark out of the Matrix, kind of like how Optimal Optimus brought back Optimus Prime Beasties, and how Megatron goes to the Lincoln Memorial, moves Lincoln out of the... Well, actually, in this one, he blows up Lincoln, sits in his chair. I think it was in season 2 of the original. He just moves Lincoln out of there and just sits there. So in this one, I think pretty much the entire world knows of the Transformers now. And pretty much the moon landing. The only reason why they went to the moon was because the Ark, a Cybertronian Autobot jet, crash landed on the moon in 1960, 61 I think, and pretty much Americans and Russians wanted to get there, and Americans got there first. Pretty much they went there to get pictures, take samples, and all that. And that was kept hidden for about 50 plus years. So then, I think the problem with these Transform movies is that there's a lot of stuff in here where I just sort of wonder, how does this all fit together in the grand scheme of things? I'm going to spoil it. Essentially, what Megatron wants to do, this is also taken out of a plot from a 3-part episode. Megatron wants to, pretty much wants to make a space bridge using the pillars which are on the Ark, and to bring Cybertron into Earth, near Earth, and pretty much they can rebuild Cybertron using the humans. Now, that's actually taken out of a plot line. That's actually the plot of I think it's called The Ultimate Doom in season 1 of the original series, where excuse me, I'm just eating some crackers. Where pretty much Megatron sets up some pylons, some energy pylons, and brings Cybertron to Earth, and that creates a lot of problems. But you see Cybertron, and I think Michael Bay should have gone for what Cybertron originally looked like, and the size of it. In this, it looks roughly about double the size of Earth. Cybertron's roughly about it's not bigger than Earth, but it's not the same size. It's like 7/8, 4/5, or something like that. 5/6, and I find it interesting. Sentinel Prime, who was on the Ark, who pretty much Optimus Prime's mentor, pretty much sided with the Decepticons. Yeah. And, one thing I like about Optimus Prime is that he's got a trailer now. I don't know if the toy will come with a trailer, but who knows. And the trailer, it transforms into a base and becomes his, super mode, I guess. I think that's taken out of Transformer Cybertron, the trailer combines with his back to form a jetpack and extra guns. And problems with this one, they don't really focus on the Decepticons as much. I mean, they do play a role, but the main villain is Sentinel Prime, voiced by Leonard Nimoy. Isn't that interesting? Leonard Nimoy also played Galvatron in the original Transformer movie. So, him and apparently Michael Bay's related to him. Isn't that interesting? And essentially, only Optimus can revive Sentinel Prime, and the Decepticons knew this, so that's why they left Sentinel Prime on the Ark, on the moon, because they knew Optimus Prime would get him, revive him, bring him back, and Sentinel Prime would just wait to betray him. One thing I will say, though, I'm glad they kicked Megan Fox out of this movie. I mean, who doesn't think she's hot? But I don't like her. I mean, she's a horrible actress. She looks good, but fair, I could name like 50 actresses better looking than her. And she didn't even contribute much to the movie. The new girl is named Carly, based off Carly from the original series. And not only does she look better, she's English, but she actually contributes. But one thing I will say, one thing I'm pissed is that Megatron isn't in the movie. Now, I don't mean like isn't in the movie. He's in the movie, but he doesn't do anything. At one point, after like Cybertron's being warped to Earth, he's just sort of sitting there, and Carly just goes to him and persuades him. Yeah, Carly actually does something. She talks to Megatron. I'm surprised, and pretty much says, once Cybertron's here, what will you be? You'll be nothing. You'll just be Sentinel's bitch. He's like, I want to kill you, but you have a point. But it's flawed. But to be fair, I think it's a lot better than the other two. I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. That's being generous. Roger Ebert really hated on this. He said, one of the things he said, because they tear up Chicago in this. And one thing I will say, the 3D worked. Wow. And, thank God. Someone finally gave Sam Witwicky a gun, but he loses it. And one thing I will say, at one point, Sam Witwicky, Shia LaBeouf, he gets a job, and his boss is John Malkovich. Oh, God. I'm sorry, John Malkovich is one of the most intimidating actors in my mind. I mean, to have him as a boss, and I remember in Burn After Reading, the one guy has to fire him. Imagine just having to work with John Malkovich. Fortunately, he's not in the movie that long. John Turturro is still in the movie. For some reason, he contributes a bit. Not a lot, but... Yeah, but there's this one human character, Carly's boss, who's a car collector. He makes a deal with the Decepticons, and he pretty much and his father pretty much stopped, was the reason. He had some big thing in part of the moon landing and the killing of various people like Kennedy and all that. And he's just, like Confused Matthew said, you get the one character in every movie who's the jerk, solely to be a jerk. This guy, you just wish death upon him. I mean, Sam gets about 8 chances to kill him, and when one finally goes into place, you think, oh, wait, is he dead? He just gets electrocuted. I mean, electrocute can't kill you, but is he dead? One thing I will say, when one of the Autobots dies, it is painful to watch. I mean, Ironhide gets, like, ripped apart by Sentinel, and it's like his original death. He just gets blasted and blasted, and at one point he's like, no. Oh, well. And Leonard Nimoy gets one of his lines, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the Autobots, or something like that. Something along those lines. But I don't want to see this movie get panned. I could see why it's getting canned, or whatever. I was reading one paper, the Metro gave it 4 stars. National Post gave it 1.5. Roger Ebert gives it 1. Toronto Star gave it 2.5, and the Globe and Mail gave it 3. So, yeah. But I like this movie a lot. It has a lot more depth, and you actually care what happens to these people. And one thing I like is that the humor, all the stupid teen humor, only sits there for the first bit, like the other two. But no, the first one did it horrible, but it just sort of sits there, and then it's done in about 10 minutes. Thank God Sam's parents aren't in this. And one thing I will say, though, that this human guy, he sides with the Decepticons, and the Decepticons just invade. And there's like hundreds of them on Earth, and I just sort of wonder, what was he thinking was going to happen? I mean, Decepticons don't care about humans. But yeah, Starscream gets killed off. Yeah, Ironhide dies. And you get Wheelie, who's annoying and stupid, but he's still in it. But overall, I think this is probably my new favorite Michael Bay movie. One of the few, probably one of the best movies of the summer I've seen so far. There's still a few more I want to see. Captain America, Cowboys and Aliens, and Harry Potter Part 2, of course. But this one, I think, is just fantastic. I see why people pan on it, but I don't want to see it panned on. Michael Bay said this will be his last one. Megatron's dead. All the pretty much big Decepticons are dead. Oh yeah, Barricade returns. You just see him in the background. He's probably died. But I'm just curious. They gotta defeat all those. Yeah, I think Planet Cybertron gets destroyed. At one point you see, it's coming through the space bridge, and part of it just gets cut off. And then the space bridge gets disrupted, and then it just disintegrates. I don't know. Oh, Optimus loses an arm. Yeah. I think that's also a reference to that one episode where Megatron takes over New York. But the battle between him and Sentinel Prime, it's pretty intense. And Megatron saves Optimus. The two battle it out, and Optimus defeats Megatron. And Peter Cullen, that guy can voice act. If they gave Oscars for voice acting, he definitely deserves one. So does Frank Welker, because he does every other voice and noise. And typical Michael Bay, it's got the camera style, and the just the feel of a Michael Bay movie, the corny music, all the military. Nothing much else I could say. Very well made, I'll give it that. And this movie was 2 hours 40 minutes, and it felt like I was watching two movies. The first movie is essentially coming up to when the Decepticons invade, and the second movie is just, the battle after. It's kind of like, I remember when the Decepticons finally take over, it's just I thought it was, kind of remind me of when the Covenant took over Reach, and Halo Reach. I don't know, just something to say. The Last Spartan. Oh, that was such a sad level. But overall, I think it's very good. This is probably one of my favorite movies of the year so far. But I still got a few more to watch and review. And I will keep going. This has been a Captain's Review, and this movie's gonna get an 8 out of 10. Yep. That's all I can really say. What else I could say? Yeah, lesson in the movie, don't ever get John Malkovich as a boss. He will scare the shit out of you. Alright, see ya.